Okay, howdy my developers, what is up? In this video we are going to be using templates in Node. That way you don't really have to put anything inside the HTML file that you want to send to the client. You pull it all from this data file, and that is now on the page. Okay, so all I have right now is the server that I created, and if you didn't watch the last video and you don't know how to create this, go watch that last video. It'll show you how to get the Node modules, packages, and everything. I have my index file right here, it's just blank, and I have my data.json file. I'll be putting everything right here in the description, and I'll have a link to it in my comments, or uh, I will link my GitHub in the description where you can also copy this. And I also have this data file right here linked in my server. So step number one is we want to put a placeholder text in our HTML file. The way you do that is use your curly braces and then two percentage signs, and in there I'm just going to put people's names because that's what we're going to be putting onto our page. So save that real quick. And if you've seen anything but my other vanilla JavaScript course, you know you got to do things in steps. So now I want to create a template to help me fill in this gap right here. So I'm going to create a folder called template, and this is going to help keep us organized. And if we have multiple pages with multiple templates, we can just keep them all right here. I'm going to call this overview.html. And here we start putting in our HTML, but not the whole thing. Just we're going to be putting a div into our HTML page, so I'm going to be putting a div right here. I'm having a hard time talking today. But I'm going to put an H2, and we want to put a name. So I'm going to say name, and then we're also going to want to put the age. So I'm going to copy this, paste it, and change name to age. I'm going to save this. And now we're going to have to create a module to replace all the placeholder strings. So I'm going to create a folder called module. Again, just for organization, because if we have a bunch of different modules, then we're going to want to keep them all in one place so we know where they're at. And I'm just going to call it replace text.js. So since we're going to be exporting this file and using it in a different one, we're going to use module.exports. I'm going to say is equal to temp, because that will be the temp file where we're replacing the text, and then person. That person will be the data we want to insert into our temp file. So say let output is equal to temp.replace, and in here we're going to have a slash, and then the same thing we did before, just curly braces, name, a slash, and a G after that. The G that just means global. So we're going to have multiple names and people in here, and this G will make sure that it just goes through the whole HTML file and gets every different placeholder text with the name inside of it. And then we're going to say person.name. After that, we're going to say output equals output.replace. And we're going to do the age just the same way as above. So curly braces, percentage, and then G. We put age in here, and we're going to say person.age. Now all we have to do is return output, otherwise it will not update the text on our HTML page. So now that we have these two main files that we created and our little tools here, we're going to put them into our server file. So I'm going to require that module we both just created. I'm going to call it const replace text equals require /modules/place text. And I'm going to call the template string page overview, just because that's what I called the file name. So overview equals fs.readFile sync. Use our backticks. And then templates/overview.html. Give it our encoding so we don't run into a bug. Now let's create a variable that'll parse through all of the data in our JSON file, and we're just going to say const data object equals json.parse, and we're going to give it data right here. Okay, and in here, where we get our path name and everything, this is where we are going to be replacing the placeholder text. So I'm going to create a variable. I'm going to call it cards HTML. I'm going to say equals data object dot map, create a little arrow function. I'm going to say L. That'll be the data. And I'm going to use our module that we created. I'm going to say replace text. And then the temp file we want to put in there is overview. And our person is going to be L. So that replaces this right here. Will replace all the placeholders in this file. So now that we changed out all these and put in all the data from this, we want to insert this and do our people's name placeholder. And the way we do that is by creating another variable. I'm going to call it output, and we're going to say homepage dot replace. I'm going to copy this right here. Get rid of this little space. And we're going to change that out with cards HTML. Now, to let the client see everything we just did and show them all of our hard work, we're going to send them our output. So save that, restart your server. Let's open up our page, and it's going to go from people's names to this right here. So that is how you use templates in Node.js. Just to go over it one more time, we have our template file, or a folder, with our overview file. We have our module we created that finds all the placeholder text and replaces it with the data from our data.json file. In our app, we are requiring the module we created. We're saying, hey, we have this overview page right here. We're going to want to send this file. We have our data, and we're parsing through the data. And then right here is where we get down to the nitty-gritty and replace the text in our overview. And that text we're replacing the overview, we're replacing it at people's names with all that to give us that final outcome. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something, and thank you for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you want me to explain something a little better, if you don't understand any of it. But yeah, that's how you use templates in Node. Thank you.